Hey everybody, Chuck here. First and foremost, apologize. This video has to replace, I think it's PTV Build number 5, because as I was uploading 6, somehow I deleted number 5 and I don't have any backups, so I thought I'd just shoot it over again. Plus, that was the video about the frame flip, but we're going to go beyond the frame flip today. And seeing the frame is now right side up is what I'm calling it. We're going to be able to go in a little more detail, show you some bigger pictures. The reason I decided I'd go with the frame flip is because it allows this top sprocket to run closer to the frame rails and not have a bunch of wasted space on top of the vehicle frame rails. I'm going to show you my other one here. That'll explain it a little bit better. This one, of course, is up here being tore apart now, but this, my old one, I had the frame, the track idlers up really high, track running way up there, and the bottom bogies were on a solid frame rail. Remember I've talked about this? Solid frame rail, 1-inch piece of square tubing all along, just welded to the cross pieces, and it really did work okay. If you're just going to bomb around, don't, go real slow, gear it real slow, pull things around, and you don't need a suspension, that's okay. Of course, mine, I want to go some long distance with it, so I want a little bit more suspension underneath it, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So anyway, to eliminate that, all that wasted space up there and have more room for suspension, I just flipped the track vehicle frame upside down, and that's what we're seeing here. So, and as we noticed, we had to cut the notch out, and here's a real good picture of it. I haven't completely cleaned it up. Just cut the notch out, used a smaller 3/8 inch bolt for the pillow block bearing. Also put a 1/4 inch piece of solid steel and ran that back several inches and welded it on the inside. And also took a piece of 1/4 inch and stuck it inside and welded it around there. So I think it's going to be nice and solid. I think it's going to be plenty strong enough for what we're doing. And I did that on 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them. Okay, reason why, let's go over here. I like the looks of this much better. It looks more like an army tank. I like the idea of the differential being underneath, and leaves me the ability to put the engine down on the frame or real close to it, whereas this one was up on a stand. I like the way the track looks, and I like the idea I'll have room underneath for suspension. Now let me talk about the suspension. I'll go a little bit farther than I was able to the other video anyway. These are just kind of approximately spaced out, 4 sets of 2. And the idea is to have brackets made, of course 2 to each side. And at the top, it'd be like that and like that. I'm just doing this one-handed like that and like that. So all sets will have those brackets. And at the top, each one will have its own suspension unit. And I'll show you a picture of that too. This is something kind of unique to any track vehicle I've seen out there. That's one of the suspension units we're talking about. If you can imagine that with an arm on it, and if you do a search on torsion suspension on YouTube or just Google it, you'll see a lot of information. Trailers are using them. They never wear out. You don't have to worry about springs, and I don't see any downside to it other than the cost. Here's another picture that got me jazzed on the idea of using this kind of a suspension unit. So picture those suspension units, 2 here and 2 here, each one with a bracket going down, and it'll give it just enough give. That will go, the back one will go back, the front one will bump up a little, this one will go back a little, this one will go up a little. That's my idea. Okay, and the other thought, the only idea was, well, let me show you the picture. Here's a big picture. That's what they look like close up. And that's not, triangle pieces of black rubber. Those are it's actually rubber cord that's forced into the square tubing with the centerpiece of square tubing. And you can imagine that's what gives. as it turns, it's just awesome. I love the idea. Liked everything but the price. So what is a suspension unit here? What are these torsion things? Well, simply, look at this. Simply, they're a piece of square tubing with another piece of square tubing inside that is able to rotate just a little bit. How do you like that? I found some square tubing. And when we get down to the torsion suspension, I'll give you some specs on that. So, doesn't that just kind of look like what we were just looking at? One-handed, it's hard to do this. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We're going to do a suspension unit, our own. Just use a square tubing with square tubing inside. And then, handy dandy, Granger Incorporated, I think it's Granger's, the 3/8 inch rubber cord. And I'll make 8 of these things, make them myself. Mount them up there in the suspension, and I'll have the suspension for all wheels. That'll be pretty cool. Now, finally, let me go quickly. I always say that, don't I? Somebody asked me about the bogey wheels. Where do I get those? Those are simply something I got at an auction. Not really happy with them, but they're 295 pound capacity, each one of them. 5/16 bore, and they do have bearings in them. What are they? They're really just shopping cart wheels. Isn't that something? But the great benefit of these things, from surpluscenter.com, they have the exact same things. I bought a whole box of them at an auction, really cheap. But they're only like, gosh, a little over $1 a piece. So, you know, will they last? I don't know. But it's challenge finding 5-inch wheels with an American, you know, bore. They're all metric. Then you got to use a metric shaft, and it was a bit of pain. Believe me, I've done my research on these. So I've decided to use these since I already had them. And with that vein of thought, that's also why somebody asked me about that, why I decided to use the frame system inside the track frame. I'm going to have everything built on this frame. All my braces will be in here, and my suspensions, 4 suspension units will be in there, and I can just slide it in. You can see this one's already in. Slide it in, put it up, pin it, bolt it, it'll be there. That way I can take the whole thing out if I want to. Yeah, you can take the individual torsion suspensions off, you can take individual bogies off, but I really needed to go this way, I felt, because I want to build everything on this, throw this on the floor, you know, be able to jump up and down on it to see what kind of give, because I have no idea what kind of you know, how it's going to work. So I wanted to actually have it outside the vehicle. If I get a little bounce on it, I just need a little bit, cut down the vibration of riding it, because you'll have some vibration with the solid bogies. Slide it back in there, put it up, pin it, boom, good to go. All right, that's a quick update. Apologize again if you've already seen the frame flip, but I tried to go a little bit more in depth today for you. Again, man, it's a beautiful day out there. I hope you're enjoying life. I hope life is being good to you, and God bless you so much today. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.